Movavi. Movavi.
Shout out to Pop Mafia, man. You already showed of ours.
Hey, Pops, Bills, baby.
All right, we're live. All right, Buffalo Bills had a big game. First round of the playoffs, wild card weekend. And the Bills put, I don't know if the Bills did or the NFL did. Maybe they did this all over the league, but they put big playing cards around the outside of the stadium with different pictures of Bills players on them. I took the liberty to take one with Jordan Phillips with his coat underneath his jersey. But there were Josh Allen ones and Terrell Bernard's, and yeah, people were taking pictures. It was a little unique for the playoffs before we even got into the stadium. It was a little bit cold, but not that bad. Not that bad. Hopefully the weather will cooperate again next Sunday. But this Denver game, some of the keys to the game were, what are we going to do on punt return if Codrington can't play? And wow, was I pleasantly surprised with how good Shakir was at punt return. I think he's our new punt returner. I don't think Codrington should come back, and if Shakir can do that well, because it just saves a roster spot to not have a guy that just does punt return. And if Shakir can do that, then we can add another defensive player and help with that defensive rotation. So we'll see how that goes into the future. I mean, it was a hamstring injury anyway, I believe, a leg injury. So he did do some light defensive back drills before the game, but he didn't play in the game. And you know what? I'll talk about this right now. Codrington, actually, when he was going down the ramp, I've been trying to get his autograph, right? And I held this up, Jalen Virgil, and all he said to me was, "That's not me." And it was because I had the wrong one. I had the wrong one up. So I didn't get Codrington's autograph because by then he was by me. When I flipped it around, I couldn't figure out what was going on. Yeah, that's you. So that was a little bit embarrassing, to tell you the truth. But, you know, it is what it is. The other key to the game was how, and the biggest key, I told you guys this would be the biggest key to the game. How well will our offensive line of the Bills, who has the least amount of sacks given up all year, do against the defensive line of the Broncos, who are thought of as being one of the best, if not the best, defensive line group in the NFL. Well, Allen on the Broncos, Zach Allen, he got through and made a sack during the game, and he showed in the pregame and during the game that guy is a legit NFL player. Allen, they got a strong player there on their defensive line. The other guy was Nick Benito, who has a lot of sacks had a lot of sacks on the season, and Deion Dawkins pretty much shut him down during the game. Deion Dawkins had a fantastic game. So did everybody on the offensive line. I think there was 2 sacks that the Bills did give up, but that's good against this defensive line for the Denver Broncos. Josh Allen did have time at times, and actually it looked like he didn't really want to scramble as much as he has in the past. He didn't really want to run, which was interesting. He had some opportunities that I thought he could have run. And because the offensive line played so well, James Cook had over 120 yards rushing, and James Cook was the star of the game. You know, usually when the running back's the star of the game, the offensive line did have a great game. So great job by our offensive line and by James Cook. The everybody can eat mentality by our wide receivers still worked very, very well. I was very impressed by Samuel's long touchdown. I mean, it's 55 yards. And the part that I thought was pretty unique was all the fans chanting MVP, MVP, MVP. Samuel was wide open. And Josh Allen threw a good pass to him, but he was open. And then Samuel juked and moved around and used his speed to run into the end zone for a 55-yard touchdown, I believe it was. And everybody chanted MVP, which is great. I mean, I still think and will always think Josh Allen is the MVP for the season. But that particular play was more about Samuel and how he used his speed to run down into the end zone for a touchdown. If you were watching the intro, you saw that Kingsley Jonathan gave us a little bit of a shout out before the game. Kingsley comes over and talks to us before every game. We love Kingsley Jonathan, and we actually talked about Nigerian food and Filipino food, and invited him to the house next year. We'll see if he actually comes, but he seemed excited about it, but we'll see what happens. He was just being nice, maybe. So anyway, so on the defensive side of the ball, how did the Bills defense do? That first drive had me nervous. I'm not going to kid. Bo Nix threw a dime for a long touchdown pass to Franklin. I wasn't even looking for Franklin to really be a problem in the game. He was a draft pick this year out of Oregon. Those guys played together in college. And it was a good guy that I was thinking about the Bills to draft in maybe the third or the fourth round. But after they drafted Coleman, we knew we didn't want to get another wide receiver that early. So Keon had a good game. So did Coop had a couple of catches. He draws coverage. Kincaid and Knox both had long catches. So that's what everybody eats. And Hollins had some great catches. But if you're going to talk about Mac Hollins, you got to talk about the hit. I don't know how Mims, the punt returner for Denver, held on to that football. And I just kept saying that over and over again. How did he hold on to that? Because Hollins had like a 50-yard run straight at him and plowed him in the back. He split the two guys that were trying to stop him from getting in there, from blocking him, and he just wailed him. I mean, my eyes were, whoa, because that happened right in front of me. And I don't know how he held on to the ball. That hit was very brutal, very, very brutal. How he held on to the football, I don't know. And then it looked to me like Reed Ferguson actually came down to try to help him up. And they said he was standing over him and gave him a 15-yard penalty. I don't know. Reed Ferguson doesn't usually do that kind of thing. So, I guess you'd have to ask Reed really what his intentions were. Maybe it's playoff football, but I thought he was just going down there to try to help him up. The 4th and 1 from the 25, I was screaming, tush push, tush push, tush push. Now, after watching the game on replay, it was more like a yard and a half. So maybe tush push wasn't called for, but either was a pass. I mean, wow. That made me so nervous. And then when Josh was scrambling and running right, I actually yelled out, "Who called this play?" And then Josh does what MVPs do and what Josh Allen does. And he threw that ball down to the end zone after scrambling. I believe he took a hit on the play. And Ty Johnson, you throw it to a running back, you don't expect him to make a catch like that. A wide receiver, a tight end, yeah. But Ty Johnson, what a catch. And to keep his foot up off the white and get his knee down, woo, that was sweet, baby. I love Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson's a really nice guy, too. He makes an effort to mingle with fans before games. He actually took over what Diggs did last year and throws passes to kids in the crowd before the game. He threw one to my wife earlier this year. When she was shoveling snow in the stands. So, we love Ty. And he may have to play even a bigger role next week because I don't think Ray Davis is going to be able to play next week. There were several collisions in this game to Buffalo Bills players that I thought for sure was going to knock him out for at least the rest of the game. Excuse me. But Ray Davis's hit, I mean, Josh laid it out there too long. He had done that a couple of times this year to different receivers, but that one he laid out there. Yeah. So anyway, the defender knew that he called it my bad right afterwards. Like you could tell he actually tried to pull up at the last second, but the collision was made. And we watched Ray Davis walk off the field, but he had his arms around two people and he was still wobbly while he was leaving the field. I know on the replay you guys watched him walk up the tunnel, but we watched him walk the whole distance of the field. I do think the Bills get the backboard out a little bit too quick. I mean, they had the backboard out for him, for Taryn. I mean, you can never say it's too quick, but it's scary when you see that backboard go out, and I'm not even playing in the game. You would think that would put a little bit of fear into players, but yeah. Anyway, they had it out a lot. But Taron Johnson on his collision said it was mostly his neck, not his head. He went to the blue tent immediately, got concussion protocol, went to the locker room immediately, ran to that, and then ran back so he could get into the next series. He is crazy. And then Alec Anderson had a hurt ankle. He went into the locker room limping, but he came back for the second half and played. I mean, these guys might be a little bit sore today, but they did come home with a victory and the win. And after that first series, the defense did lock down. Bo Nix showed that he is a good quarterback. I knew he would be, and he's not razzled by loud crowds and things because he played so many big-time college football games. I thought Bo played very, very well. Patrick Surtain was not impressed. I mean, watch the play with Curtis Samuel running by him. Franklin was the best wide receiver on the day, and maybe that's because we were covering the other guys. But and they don't really have a running game. We talked about that before. But the Denver Broncos have a good young team, and they've been in salary cap problems. So to put that good of a team out with that much salary cap problem and eating a lot of Russell Wilson's contract this year, I think Denver is going to be good for a long time. And if they could draft a running back, imagine if they get the Boise State running back in the draft, then they're going to really have a scary team. And I was nervous anyway going into this game, but the Bills showed in the long run that there was nothing to be nervous about because that was the only touchdown they gave up was on the first drive. The only scores they gave up at all. I thought Matt Milano had a great game too. Terrell Bernard. And, speaking of that, everybody's talking about Baltimore is definitely going to win this game. And I don't want to do too much into the Baltimore game as we face them next week, but because the Bills got slaughtered by them earlier this year. And we did. Henry and Lamar are both what a two-headed monster. I don't know what Flowers' situation will be like, but the Bills did not have Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, or Taron Johnson, and I think Taylor Rapp was even out for the game. Von Miller didn't play. I mean, yeah, our defense was not really our defense in that game. So I don't think it'll be that big of a blowout for sure. It'll be a great game, but we'll talk more about that later on in the week. At this game, before the we had some good conversation. This game, we had a long conversation with Dwayne Carter, but I didn't know that he wasn't going to play in the game. And I was confused that Dwayne Carter wasn't playing in the game. Every game that he's been healthy, and maybe his wrist was bothering him, but he's played. And they played Ulafosio instead. I don't know if they wanted a linebacker over a D tackle for this game for some reason. I didn't really notice Ulafosio playing, but I don't know. I don't know what the deal was there. Obviously, they had an extra roster spot with, like I talked about earlier, with Codrington not playing. I'd have to look more about who wasn't playing in the game and why to really understand that. I don't know why Dwayne Carter wasn't playing. I thought he played well this year for us. So, anyway, Before the game, we had good conversations again with Kingsley Jonathan. Shakir stopped by. Ty Johnson got a high five from him and from Spencer Brown. Mike Edwards came over to say hello. Eli Anku made an effort to come over and say hello. He had the big ski goggles going. And, yeah, fun for everybody. Great game. Great game. And because I messed up on the Covington thing, showing him the wrong picture, we didn't get any other autographs from current Buffalo Bills, but I'm not expecting to get Taylor Rapp or Cole Bishop or David Edwards anyway. So we did get this legend of the game, Kyle Williams. Kyle came over and signed this for me. I thought Kyle did a fantastic job before the game as legend of the game, like I knew he would, because he gave some great pep talks to our players in the locker room before games when he was on the team. So it was awesome to see Kyle Williams. And after the game, I also saw him and I thanked him for coming, and he said, "I appreciate you." My wife got to hang out with Dawson Knox's wife. I guess their honeymoon is over. I don't know. You call them newlyweds, how long you do that. But I don't even really know how that happened. But she got a picture with her, and they hung out for a while. And then after the game, well, first of all, you probably know that I dance, do the little shout dance whenever we score. Well, we had a lot of Denver Bronco fans around us, and actually one group of Bills fans that left early due to the score. So our row was almost completely empty because I believe in the philosophy of real fans stay till the end of the game. We stay late. We're the last ones to leave. Anyway, the row was empty. So the last touchdown dance was amazing, and there were at least 2 other fans that saw me doing the dance during the whole game that did it with us. So I gave them Pops Mafia pins. And then they played the Backstreet Boys. They haven't heard the Backstreet Boys played all year at the stadium. But when they played that, my wife and I used the fact that we had weren't just packed in with fans. We did quite the dance for the 2.5-minute timeout. I don't know how we didn't end up on the video board because we used the whole row to dance and to ask, if listen for the yeah. Anyway, that was a blast. That was so much fun. And then just watching the guys walk off the field happy and celebrating. They get a few hours to do that. By now, they better be focusing on the Baltimore Ravens. But it was good to see them there. Prayers for Ray Davis. Talking about the game that James Cook had, we did videotape one of his touchdowns. So I want to show that to you now. So Himbo was what I was yelling. Himbo, 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 because his name is James, abbreviated to Jim. The players call him Jimbo when it's not games, and then when he does great things on the field, we change it to Himbo because he is him. He is the one. So Himbo is his nickname. So that was a lot of fun too. The flyover was amazing, and I don't know why fans seem to be on the lady that sang the anthem, other than I don't know why we have to have every person that ever performed on The Voice come sing the anthem for us, but I thought she did a fantastic job. And then the flyover was just crazy. It was a cool flyover for sure. Player intros, fantastic. Just the whole atmosphere. They tried to do something at halftime with kick a field goal for a truck to win a truck. It was obvious that lady wasn't going to be able to kick the field goal, and basically she just nudged the ball off the tee and it rolled like 3 yards. No, you're not going to make it. She's not going to make a 30-yard field goal. So at least they tried, like they say in that cake from The Simpsons. At least they tried to do something. I mean, I guess I'm really talk about these things of on-field events because I did them for so long in minor league baseball and in hockey. And we took a lot of time and effort to try to figure out ways to entertain. My favorite one was when we had people dress up in a chicken, like they were riding on chickens, and the chicken would fall apart while they were riding. And then inevitably one of the people would fall down and I would yell, "The chicken is down. The chicken is down." One of my favorite lines ever from me. Anyway, I regress. Great game by the Bills. Great atmosphere. Wish we could play in the stadium every year. But go Bills. Go playoffs. Rooting for the Texans so that we get another playoff game at home. And with that, I'll say, go Bills! And remember, God loves you. God loves you. And so do I.
Hey, Pops, Bills, baby. Go. Hey, Pops, Bills.
And shout out to Pop Mafia, man. You already showed about it.
You missing it? The guys are dancing. Let's go, Dwayne! Yeah!
Movavi. Movavi.
And shout out to Pop Mafia, man. You already showed about it.
Hey, Pops, Bills, baby. Go.
Movavi. Movavi.